Okay, so this is the new office. You know, I've spent about a week and a half with it and come across some things I like about it, some things I don't like about it. This is a Transit 250, so it's 3/4 ton. It's a 3.7 liter, I think it is, 3.7 liter V6. It's not the EcoBoost, it's the standard engine. It does have more horsepower than the old E250s, which I had. I had a was a 4.6, 4.7 V8 in the old E250 I had. It's better gas mileage. We're looking at, for the E250 I was looking at 11, 12, depending on how my driving is. On this, depending on my driving, I'm about anywhere between 13.5 and 14.5. So it's not too bad. There are some issues with it, and some things I don't like, and some things I do really like. One of the things I don't like about this, and it's kind of hard to show some of this stuff just because I have to be close to the camera, otherwise I'm going to have to yell across my driveway. But this right-hand door here, and these are barn doors, always had barn doors, always liked barn doors, is really stiff to open up, right? And you can see it folds even further than that, almost to touch that passenger side door, but there's no positive stop on it. Now, as the old E250s, when you open that right door, there was a detent that stopped this door from shutting or from hitting the side, and there's nothing on this one. Yet, this inside door here, which just handles here is kind of chintzy, is feather light to open. And look it. See? There's nothing from stopping it from going all the way to the lock. If you're on a real windy day, that thing will whip open and you have possibility of bending the hinges. Just something you got to be aware of. The other thing I don't like is the rear doors. It might not work real well right now, but when you open these, you can see it wants to shut. Okay, and I'm on a hill, so you have to push these to the detent to get them to stay open. Also, the other thing is you have these little doodads in here, so if you hit the lock, then you can't shut the door. If you hit the unlock, it detaches the door from this spring closer, and I can open them up that far. I think some models you can open them up till they touch the side of the truck, just not on this one. But when you close them, they come back and they re-engage that little spring into the detent. Okay, as far as the rear goes, I have no issues with that. Let's take a look at another issue I have. Okay, another issue I have is the ladder racks. Okay, so each crossbar that you see here, that's a mounting point for the ladder rack above. So let me show you. So you get a mounting point here, you got one there, and you got one all the way up front, and these are Ranger brand aluminum ladder racks. Now the problem comes right there is the last mounting point for the ladder rack. There is nothing forward of that point over the cab. Okay, there's no other way to mount another crossbeam there. This truck doesn't have gutters like the 250s did. In the 250s, I had a ladder rack all the way up right by the door. Okay, so that let me not have my ladder all dangling out the front, and gave me easy access to step on the step board and get to the bungee cord. To get to the bungee cord on this one here, on the other side where I normally keep my my extension ladder, it's really hard to get at that one. So I might have to just get used to switching this around. I might have to put my extension ladder on this side to be able to use this as a step, and then put the 6-footer on that side. So it's not too bad of an issue with having a lot dangling out. It's only a 25-foot ladder. But if you got a 40-foot ladder sitting on top of this, you're going to have a lot of unsupported weight on one end. You know, you're going to have to try to center it. Also, for me, I used to use, on the 250s, used to use the rear wheel and then be able to grab the gutter that was up here to hold yourself up and wrap the ladder wraps. This is as far up as I can reach. I can just reach those standing on my feet. If I do it tippy-toe, I can get up there, so it's harder for me to latch the ladders on this than it is on the original 250 that had the gutters. It gave me something to grab. Okay, this is up front. It's a relatively Spartan interior. There's nothing special with this truck. The only option that we have, I believe, in this is backup camera, I think that's the only option that we really have in this, which is fine. I mean, it's a work truck, no big deal. Alright, so let's hop up in here. So, the radio sucks. Reception in this is horrible. I don't know why. It's just certain places I don't get, the reception cuts in and out, whereas on the other van it didn't. And, I don't know if it's just replacing the antenna with something longer or what, but reception kind of blows. As far as ergonomics, not too bad. You get some cup holders down here. You got another one on your left, and same thing with the passenger side there. The biggest problem with up front here is there's no storage. Alright, there's nothing. There's just that, really. And on the passenger side and driver side, there's just like this little cubby hole here, and then in the doors. So, unlike the E250s that had the cubby hole under the middle here, these don't have that. Also, this has a transmission hump, unlike the 250s, the E250s, which were completely flat, which was great because I used to sit a box in here. All right. So another thing is the depth between the seats is a lot smaller, and instead of the pedal emergency brake, it's next to the driver's seat here, and it's a handle. The problem with this is I like to keep my jackets in here, and sometimes Jack gets caught on this when I go to pull it up. So lack of storage is a big thing. I kind of like this little deal here because it fits my cell phone in there perfectly. Gauges, normal gauges, nothing special there. The other storage option is this little thing up here. Now, what I really wish they did was had a cover to this. The Boss has a Ram ProMaster, and I really wish they had a clippable cover on this like his. Also, if you can see, move these jackets. Underneath the passenger seat here, behind this metal deal, and tucked in back there, that is the jack. The bottle jack is under there for the truck. What I really wish they did is they had taken this out and moved it to the rear like the E250s had, and put a sliding drawer under there for storage. Like I said, you do have the glove compartment here, nothing special. And as far as stuff they give you this little nozzle. We'll get to what that is in a second. Also in there is to turn off the airbag in case you don't like your passenger. I have 2 ports, one here and one here, 12-volt outlets. All the controls there for AC and everything else. There's a lot more options for direction of the airflow as compared to the E250. One thing I don't particularly like is the placement of these. For me, in normal driving position, I can't really see this when I reach over to get it, so I gotta like lean down to look at it. Not a huge thing, but they could very easily put this out more in this area here or somewhere else. The vents are kind of fantastic. Like I gotta have them almost all the way shut inside to not blow on my face. As far as good things go, the ride in this is 1,000 times better than the standard Econoline. It rides much better, much better. It has faster acceleration. It's actually got more horsepower than the V8 in the E250. So performance-wise, it's definitely better than the old truck. Visibility out this window is great. The only issue I have with this is when I have this visor down. This visor is huge. You can see my hand here and how big the visor is. It's kind of hard to see traffic lights when you pull up to them if they're hanging down. I actually blew a red light because I didn't see it because this was down. So the only other, as far as seating position wise, the steering wheel is further up than an E250, like driving this more like a truck. I really wish that, and it's partially just my body size, if my arms were a little bit longer, it'd be way more comfortable, but I find myself leaning forward more than in the E250 to grab the top of the steering wheel. And if I move my seat further up, my knees would be kind of jammed in here and it wouldn't feel comfortable. So it's more my body size than anything, and this is telescoped out as far as it'll go. You know, that's just me personally. Somebody else may not have that issue. Again, ride quality is great. Also, visibility out the mirrors is fine. You get the blind spot mirrors on the bottom. You have the regular mirror on the top there. And in this truck, if I can find the key, when you put it in reverse, I have a backup camera. Obviously, shifter is in the console. It's got that automatic manual BS there. That's it. Seating position and comfort up here is great. And let me show you the back. Okay, this is the last tool in the arsenal. Just added it to this truck when I got it. Never had it in any other trucks. And this is an asshole catcher. So what this is, plug it in. This is a forward-looking dash cam, okay? So this records everything that I see on the road. So I'm sure we'll get some good video of this thing in action. I've got a few videos in there flagged, but in this state, I'm sure I'll come across more. Another thing that's real annoying, you look over here, that's the gas tank. You have to open up the door to open up your gas tank flap. Not only that, there is no gas cap. It's got a little flappy, which is what that little plastic thing is for. If you have a gas can, you're supposed to stick that in here first, and then that would act as a funnel. So in practice, this works fine. The only problem is when you top off, you usually pull out the gas filler, and let the nozzle empty, and then put it back in. Otherwise, you're sitting there and, you know, clicking the pump on and off every 2 seconds. Well, if you pull it out too far, this will snap shut on you, and whatever dribbles out of that nozzle goes all in here and then down. Actually, there's a weep hole right here. It goes down out through that. As far as the rear goes, we got standard fare in there. We'll go through all the parts and stuff that I carry. But the step-in height is definitely lower in the back and on the side than the 250 is. The only thing is it's a plastic bumper. It's not metal like the E250s were, and it's kind of, I mean, it's just a kind of like a metal plate under there with that clipped on it. As far as cargo area and stuff, it's a little bit bigger in here than the E250. The step-in height, because of these guys here, is 1 inch shorter, shallower than the step-in height of the E250, but it's 1 inch taller from the floor to the frame member up there than the E250. And it's more square. It's not as round, so it's almost the same size down here as it is at the top, which allows these shelving units to be further apart than the E250. The other thing that you got to be aware of, though, in here you see these styrofoam pieces here. Well, I figured those had to be there for a reason, so I kind of went behind one, and lo and behold, hanging out back there, that's the inflator for the side curtain airbags. So those are kind of hanging out in the cargo area, so you got to be aware of whatever you put there or there. You definitely don't want to damage those. You'll have a bad day. So let's just take a quick peek around here at my everyday carry, and I'll show you some of the parts that I think everybody should have on their truck, and what I have on this. Okay, as far as visible stuff, down here in the left-hand corner, this is all my cleaning stuff. So these are acid, those are coil cleaner guns, that's just some lube, and that's ice machine cleaner. So that's my normal cleaning stuff. So we have the vacuum pump down here. On this shelf here, these containers here, all of these here are copper fittings. So this is copper fittings in here, and this is all electrical stuff in here. So conduit connectors, wire nuts, stake-ons, that sort of thing are all in here and removable. In these drawers, top drawer here is just screws, nuts, bolts, hardware. This is the overflow electrical stuff with fuses and extra stake-ons and conduit connectors, things like that. This bottom here holds most of my heating stuff, or heating controls. This isn't all of them, I took most of them out, but so thermostat, actually remoteable thermostat, regular thermostat, ignition control, another ignition control, that's for a carrier. This is a time clock for a small unit, that's a hot surface igniter. These guys here are all thermal overloads. That's what all these are for different units, and these are for evaporator coils, freezer evaporator coils, 3 and 2 wire defrost termination switches. Very useful to have in the truck. So let me set up and I'll show you what's in that bin. Up in this bin is where I keep most of my, all of my fan motors and some time clocks and things. So it's a fan shroud, it's a shaded pole motor, those are evaporator fan motors, 9-watt fan motors, it's all varying voltage, 115 and 208. This one right here is a special fan motor, they're square for specific units. These right here are all time clocks, some more plastic fan shrouds. This right here is a Hoshizaki water pump. It's an emergency pump. You can see it beat up. This is salvaged from a unit that got junked. What we do is I carry this. If one of these, these are really expensive. They're like 600 bucks a pop, and this is an old beat up one that came out of a unit that was junked. So what we do is we don't stock them because they're really, really expensive. So if one of these goes down, this one works. We'll put this in, order the new one, and then put the new one in. This way I can get the customer ice and get them back up and running without giving them downtime. That's what that's in there for, and that's why it looks like that. Alright, up top, living in here is all ice machine stuff. So Manitowoc water valves, Hoshizaki controls, water sensors. That's all ice machine things. These are all ice machine circuit boards. Up here is all filter dryers and sight glasses of varying sizes and configurations. Some are flare, some are sweat. This is a cap tube one. These right here are piercing valves. You need to use these on units that do not have ports on them, so mainly almost all reach-ins. These are cap tubes, replacement cap tubes, more larger filter dryers, more piercing valves. In here is solenoid valves and coils. And so right here is an Emerson one. There's Sporlan ones in there. This is a solenoid valves. You can see some of these boxes look really dirty and a little bit crushed. These have been sitting in the truck for a while, but when you need these parts, you need these parts. This here is an expansion valve. I always carry a 404 medium temp. It's pretty much mostly what will die on you, partially because this head will usually rot out, especially if they're using on produce coolers and things like that. So you can either just replace the whole valve like this, or sometimes just the head will go. I can use this head on any 404A cooler, so that's why I keep one of these with me at all times. This stuff in here is hardware. So this is a door closer for a walk-in. These are hinges for a unit. These are pulleys. They're all the same size. I went to a used tool store and they had a bunch of these for they were $2 a piece, so figured, you know, get them and throw them in the truck. There were 4 in here, now there are 3, so I have used one. On this side here, PVC fittings, more PVC fittings. These are temperature controls, so these ones are the standard pen controls with the coil on top. These ones back here are pen controls with a cap tube. These are for reach-ins, little 1 through 9 dials. Contactors of varying voltages and configuration, so 2-pole, 3-pole, 2-way coil, 24-volt coil. These are 3-in-1s for anything up to half horse, anything that has a current relay up to half horse and the relays go bad or the compressor doesn't stop. Try changing out with one of these that replaces the capacitor, overload, and relay all in one little package. In here is more, this is a transformer. That's just a, it's a capacitor, switch, cord cap, another cord cap, toggle switches, another cord cap. This here is a dongle for connecting anything that you need up on the roof that, you know, you don't have an outlet up on the roof. You take this and you clip it into a disconnect and you get your power. Everything up here, these are all pressure controls. They carry dual pressure control, a high pressure control, a low pressure control, condenser fan second control, and this is an extra high pressure control. Down here, thermostat wire, regular wire. That's just my drill, that's my light. Electronic leak detector, electronic scale, Tecumseh condenser fan motor, Copeland condenser fan motor, L-series Lennox condenser fan motor, B-tank, nitrogen tank, soldering bag, and over here, this little Husky toolbox here. This is bolted to the shelf, and this has all my extra tools in it. So all my hole saws and everything are up here. Sluggo buster, anything for making a hole is up here. Also there are taps, some tap wrenches in there, Romex stripper, extra Allens. This is a sheet metal cutter for cutting circular holes in sheet metal. You attach it to your drill, works awesome. And extra leads, PVC cutter, strap wrench. This is a vacuum gauge that clips to my field piece meter. Electric hammer drill, socket set, electric sawzall. All these here are drain line heat tapes of varying voltages and sizes for drain lines and walk-in freezers. That's a water filter. There's also another one back there. Pulley puller, tank of 407. Bucket vac works awesome. You don't have one, get one. Used copper bucket, pump sprayer right there. You may or may not see it. You definitely need that to de-ice units, clean coils. I got two 50-foot hot water hoses here, some copper, plastic drain, extension cord, rope, and let me just show you what we carry for refrigerant. Okay, so as far as refrigerants go, we carry 134A, 404A, 407C, and 410A. Now 407C is a replacement for R22. The only problem with this particular replacement is that it doesn't like mineral oil. You need to have polyester oil in the system. You need to have the synthetic oil in there. The good thing is that when you replace a compressor, that new compressor that you get has poly oil in it. So all you need to do really is either blow out the system or give it a flush, depending on how much oil is in the system, and put the new compressor in, drop this stuff in there, and you're good to go. As far as operating pressures, it's almost the same as 22. This stuff works great. We've been using it, and pretty much all the 22 units we have still existing. We don't have a lot of them existing, but they're still out there, mainly on air conditioning. Most of the refrigeration units that we service for our contracted customers have been changed over or have been changed over to 407C. But this is what we carry. We don't carry 22 anymore. We do still have it in the shop if we do need it. There are certain trucks that do the you know, on contract work that, like, you know, random service calls from people that we've never been to. They carry 22 on their trucks, but I do not carry it on mine because I do most of our contract work and service the same customers, so I carry this. But like I said, some of our trucks do carry 22 or do carry a different drop-in that will allow, well, not a drop-in, a different replacement that will allow you to mix with mineral oil. The one thing I'm missing in this truck, I haven't put it in here yet. I've only had this truck for about a week, and it's still in the other truck, and I actually had to go in for service, is my recovery tanks and my recovery machine. So I usually sit them right down there, and we have the Appion recovery machine. Thing works great. I just had a little bit of an issue with it, with one of the knobs and valves inside broke, so yeah, just from use and turning it. I think I might have turned it a little bit much, been a little bit rough with it, but anyway, that's just getting replaced. Really good customer service through my suppliers, and that usually sits down there with the recovery tanks next to it. So that's the one thing in this truck that I don't have yet, but I should have it back by next week.